Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I have a quick case for you guys. It's like 15 minutes. We're going to be reacting to it. This title caught my eye. It was so astonishing. I was like, this cannot be true, but it is so true. This is about a mother who held her husband up at gunpoint when she caught him raping her daughter. The most disgusting part in it all is that he has HIV. So not only are you raping her daughter, she also contracted HIV for this. I'm just, oh my God. And the fact that she didn't pull the trigger, I don't think any of us will be mad. I saw in the comments somebody said castration need to be there. Yes. Can we, it's cases like this where I wish we could go back to the Victorian era and just chop it off. And don't they still got that? Isn't like India or something? I don't know. Castration need to be happening, hands cut. We need some stuff. I think stuff like this, cases like this that involves children, there should be some crazy punishments. And the fact that he had HIV, you shortened her life. I'm just disgusted and overall, and I really want to know the full story because this is a disgusting man. I'm surprised she did not pull the trigger. Y'all, I would have pulled that trigger in a heartbeat. I would have pulled a couple of them. I'm not joking, okay? As a mother, I'm not a mother, but if I had a child, I'm pretty sure I would kill that man, 100%. So let's get into it.
An Oklahoma youth baseball coach is under arrest after a woman says she caught him in the act of sexually assaulting her daughter in her own home. We're digging into this wild case with renowned predator catcher Chris Hansen. Welcome to...
Okay, real quick. Also, I don't know if she caught HIV, but I feel like if he wasn't using protection, this is disgusting. It should not have happened. But you're not using protection. I feel like it's a good chance she probably did. If he wasn't taking pills or nothing, they say if you're taking pills or something, if you're hooking up with two consenting adults, it's there's in protection, there's a chance that you should be okay. But I don't know about this, and I pray that she did not get it, but I got a feeling she did because of the situation. Just ill.
Sidebar presented by Law.
I'm talking about the situation with him.
I'm Jesse Weber.
And this whole
All right, we want to warn you that what we are about to talk about is extremely disturbing. I can't emphasize that enough, but with that warning, here we go. A man is accused of raping his own stepdaughter, and the abuse allegedly started when she was 11. Earlier this month, 39-year-old Donovan Scott Shepard, a coach for the youth baseball team Oklahoma Aftermath, was out at a bar in Moore, Oklahoma. And that's when he allegedly got into a fight. According to police, his wife came to pick him up, took him home to Oklahoma City. And according to an affidavit, the woman went to bed, but Shepard didn't. She went looking for him, entered her daughter's bedroom, and that is when she told police she saw him raping her 12-year-old daughter, again, Shepard's stepdaughter. The woman actually held Shepard up at gunpoint until the police got there, believe that. And to make this even more horrifying, when Shepard was arrested, police say both Shepard and his wife told them that Shepard was HIV positive. When police later interviewed this young girl, she told them that Shepard raped her and that this wasn't the first time this had happened. No, she told authorities she was attacked 6 times starting when she was 11 and claims that he even assaulted her on her 12th birthday. Shepard is facing a huge list of felony charges: 4 counts of rape, 2 counts of lewd molestation, 1 count of pattern of criminal offenses, and 1 count of exposing others to AIDS. At last look, he's being held.
Did he say exposing mother to AIDS or exposing someone to AIDS? And you know what's crazy? I knew that was a crime because it was a black man who, I wonder if y'all know this case. If I find it, I'll put the link down below, okay? But there was a case where a black man knew he was HIV positive. He had I don't think he had AIDS, but he was HIV positive. He knew it, and he said he was purposely attacking the women, trying to he was hooking up. He hooked up with 8 or 9 women, and was trying to get them sick, and they charged. I think he actually got a life sentence. I was like, yeah, that's endangering the public health. That is so crazy, and I knew that was a crime. I just can't believe that people will actually do that. He's a pervert. He's a little He's a molester. He's a just disgusting, perverted dude. This dude I'm talking about, like in this case, the stepdad, is not your child. I just don't understand stepfathers who do that. I'm like, these are not your kids. These are not your kids. And the fact that it was going on that long, 6 times, even on her 12th birthday, these monsters, because that's what they are. These monsters have no control. They seem to have no control. That's why I am all for castration. And I'm like, I bet you would have control then. And then they should cut their mouths off because, it's some disgusting people out here. So let's finish this.
On a $500,000 bond. Now we're going to talk about it. Let me bring in renowned journalist, Predator catcher Chris Hansen, host of Takedown on True Blue. You can check it out at watchtrueblue.com.
I love him.
And also, he's the host of the podcast Predators I've Caught. Chris Hansen. Chris, so good to see you. Thank you so much for coming here on Sidebar. My gosh, this one, huh?
You can't make that up, Jesse. Thank you for having me. I wish it was on a little cheerier subject, but that's not why you have me on typically. So.
No, I mean, I would love to have you on to talk about something else, but
maybe
this is just horrifying.
Sometime. This thing is, it just takes predatory behavior to a whole horrifying level. I mean, think about this. This guy is HIV positive. He knows that, and he, in spite of that, he engages in this relationship, horrifying as that is, in and of itself, with his underage stepdaughter. It's mind-boggling to think about what was going on in his mind that allowed him to do this. I mean, it shocks the conscience on every level.
I wanted to ask you, Chris, in your experience, in the cases that you've covered, that stepfather-stepdaughter dynamic, do you see that a lot in your experience, and what does that tell you?
Here's what we see. Oftentimes, these fantasies played out on porn sites, you then see in real life. We just finished a sting, Jesse, this past week in Alabama, and we use this scenario in other states as well. It's not, exclusive to Alabama, where a mother is selling her daughter for sex, and it is consistently something that predators will want to engage in. And we had a case just last Thursday night. A man showed up after negotiating with someone posing as a child's mother to meet and have sex with a teenager. We've also seen it on the other side, where a guy traveled from Indiana to Ohio to meet with sheriff's department decoys posing as a father and daughter to have sex with a 13-year-old girl. So there is this fantasy in the porn culture out there, and I think when these guys are predisposed to this activity anyway, get all caught up in the porn part of it, suddenly watching it doesn't fulfill their fantasy, and they cross this line, Jesse, between fantasy and reality, and that's when they show up at our door or in the...
And that is true. I agree with that. These sickos who, and yes, 100% sicko, disgusting, perverted, molester monsters. That's a list, but yes, it's all true. They're just so obsessive, and they stay online and they watch porn and stuff that they want to try that's illegal. This stuff should not be out here. The fantasy part of all that stuff. And there's people that take that to, like he said, to the next level, and he's like he said, it's not fulfilling them. It's disgusting, and they'll rather attack their own family and just disgusting. And then it's those people who, they're obsessed. They're obsessed with that, watching this stuff because they're losers and don't leave. It's just gross. It's so freaking gross. And, there should really be heavier sentences for stuff like this. I pray this man get a big sentence, but I'm talking about like a big prison sentence. But I'm talking about the people like perverts who talk to underage girls. There should be harsher punishments. Freaking 4 months is nothing. There's so many cases, I think most of those cases would involve children and grown men. There be they get only months in prison. I just don't understand why. And then, like he said, there's cases when mothers will sell their daughters to older men. Just what are humans? Why is it this bad? what's happening? People be too caught up, and like they need to open their eyes and get back to reality. Because I don't think people are living like in reality right now. There's too much stuff going on. This is a disgusting case. Absolutely filthy. He's disgusting. And you know the funny thing about this though, there is a funny part, because he's in jail, and when he gets to prison, or if he's already in prison, I don't know how long ago this was. Oh, he ain't gonna be crying no more, I bet. Well, no, he will be crying. He gonna be crying because he gonna be getting got. If y'all know what I mean when I say got, the boy gonna be got and bent over, dropping himself anyways. Let's get through playing it.
In this case, they commit this horrific crime.
That's a really good point. I didn't even think about that. I always assumed, and maybe it was the wrong way to assume, we still don't know the more details about this. He's innocent until proven guilty. But the thing is, I've always been curious whether or not you have people who get into relationships with somebody in order to target the minor that's in that household.
Well,
when somebody catches you, you're not innocent anymore. You're guilty until you go to prison. You're guilty. Absolutely guilty. The mother caught you. Always believe a mother. Guilty.
I think that happens too. I think historically, when I break down these predators into categories, one of the categories is the guy who's a hardcore predator no matter what. And these guys will be the bad Little League coach, the bad scout master,
I just thought about that.
the guy who shows up at the food court at the mall looking for opportunity, the guy who may, in some extreme cases, be the guy who marries a woman who's got a stepdaughter to get at the stepdaughter. This happens. Now, how rare it is or how many times it happens, I can't tell you. But I do know that it happens. And we have seen this scenario play out before.
I had to get this off my chest. I literally forgot this dude worked with kids. What the hell? Also, so y'all can know a little bit about me, okay? I have personal things to this case. That's why I'm like, oh my God, not into that extent, but personal, like I know it, okay? Very close to home for something that's like a family member. I just, like he said, there's people who marry into the family just for stuff like this. And then you have to look in their history and be like, do they have kids? Have they done this to their kids? There's predators everywhere. They're so creepy. They're so disgusting. And it's like they eventually show their true colors once they get caught. It's always like that. They look so normal to everybody else, even to the wife, and then they get caught and everything unmasked. It's just, I don't know what goes through these people's heads, but they need to shock you know what, that sounds kind of crazy, but with these people, I was going to say they need to shock the crazy out of them, but I'm all for just snip, just...
A guy in a predator investigation once
snip
who had been busted for abusing children who he met in one of those programs to be a foster father. On a Saturday, take the kids to the ball game. And he went through an entire family and sexually assaulted 3 of the kids in the family, boys and girls. And here he is at a predator sting. So it is a pattern. It does happen. Hopefully it's as rare as it would appear to be by, the cases that you and I see, but it does happen that way.
Yeah, so this story is incredibly unsettling. It's just a reminder of how the world is unpredictable and not the safest, which leads me into talking
about... The girl was 11 years old.
Yeah, what does that tell you?
Well, it tells you that he's a stone-cold pedophile predator.
Yeah.
There are guys who try to take advantage of kids in their late teens, wrong, often illegal. But this guy specifically was targeting somebody who was very young, prepubescent probably, and very vulnerable. And these are the worst of the worst predators we see.
And that's definitely true. They do that because they can take advantage of them. These little kids are more afraid. You know what's interesting, y'all? Kids hold in a lot. You'll be surprised when you talk to somebody with trauma. They hold in so much, and it's actually amazing. We, in psychology, when I took a psychology class, I was learning about more of this stuff. And in sociology, I took a crime class, specifically sociology, but we learned about all these different cases, sexual assault, rapes, murders, and we had a forensic a forensic interviewer come in and talk about that, how they interview children who've been through all this stuff. And it's amazing, like, it's amazing because, like, you'd be like, the child's like mine, you wouldn't think they're so intellectual. These kids are intellectual. They're smart. They hold in stuff. And it's just like, you'd be like, how? Like, you wouldn't think a child can hold so much, but they can. And I say it's amazing because it's like, you wouldn't think that from a child. But with a child with trauma, they're able to hold that in, like, they can hold that in their whole life and never tell anybody. And I just think it's so interesting. That's so interesting. But yeah, people don't think about that. Or if you do, it's like good. But children hold in a lot, and they take these men, they take, because, you know, little boys, little girls, this happened to all of them, but these adult men and women, because y'all don't think I'm not trying to separate the two. There are a lot of cases which I will be talking about, because for some reason I keep seeing them pop up with these teachers, female teachers, like raping these little kids in their classes. I heard about one, about a teacher, like, she got caught kissing her 5th grade child, like, student. I don't know what's the wave of weird teachers and trying to get these little kids. There's pedophiles everywhere. There's not just men, there are women pedophile, and they go to these jobs because they want to. It's absolutely disgusting, and I will be talking more about that too with those cases. There are too many of those, and they don't be to the same point as men. And I don't understand why they're not called pedophiles. They are pedophiles. I don't understand how they don't get like a lot of prison time just because they're women and teachers. No. You should get, like, they're having sex with their children, like, their students. They need to go to jail. Like, 20 years, man. Like, I just don't understand how they be, like, separating the two, because a man, disgusting as it is, will go to jail, like, longer than the woman who do it, and I just don't understand why. But yeah, I just had to say that, y'all.
I will tell you, I think one of the most interesting witnesses, because in the information, the charging document, they have one of the witnesses is the doctor from the children's hospital that I feel could be one of the most important witnesses if you're trying to understand exactly what happened here, right?
Exactly. And we see this in many cases. We had a situation in Michigan where a guy met a 12-year-old girl on Instagram and groomed her for a period of weeks, flew up from Florida, convinced her to climb out of her family's bedroom window, meet him in a church parking lot, took her to a hotel, offered her money and other things that a 12-year-old girl would like, and sexually assaulted her to the point where she needed to be treated in an emergency room. And it was the treating physician there who alerted authorities, which worked this investigation into motion. And it turns out the guy they arrested in Florida had admitted to doing this 2 other times in other states. So this wasn't just a one-off. But it's, again, it goes back to, I mean, these are 2 different cases in that one was a stranger and one was somebody known to the child. But, you need to be vigilant. You need to have this discussion with children. But this one, the case we're talking about today, it takes it to a whole different level.
Yeah.
I mean, not only the act of it being so horrific, offensive, and just to ruin a child, and imagine the therapy that child's got to go through to get over this, and then you put the HIV on top of it. It's unimaginable, really.
Yeah, it's unthinkable. But again, I think for prove this case, the fact that you have the doctor who's able to document the forensics of this is going to be huge. The aspect of this that the wife was holding him at gunpoint until the police came. Have you ever seen anything like that?
No, that's a first. And obviously that would indicate this wasn't one of those situations where the mother was somehow complicit or looked the other way or, didn't want to face the reality of it when she did find out. And oftentimes these extreme cases, as rare as they are, nobody wants to believe it. Nobody would suspect another human being of committing such an atrocity. So, they're not looking for it, so they don't see it. But when she did see it, to hold him at gunpoint would indicate to me, in terms of doing the criminal math here, that this was the first time she found out about it.
And the fact that he's a youth baseball coach, I mean, what does that tell you?
Well, it tells me that one of the reasons he's a youth baseball coach is to be exposed to children.
Yeah.
And to have access to children. And if he's doing this to his own stepdaughter, what has he done with other kids in his care and in his company? And to me, this would signal the need for a much larger, expansive investigation And I'd be shocked if we didn't find that some other, act here, some criminal act.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, there could be. It makes me wonder if other people would come forward if they have information about
Well, I think typically once somebody has, the courage to come forward, you see others do the same thing.
Yeah.
And so it would not surprise me one bit if you saw other people come forward.
I want to leave on this statistic and get your final thoughts on it. So according to the National Center for Victims of Crime, approximately 1 in 5 girls are the victims of child sex abuse. That is in relation or in contrast to 1 in 20 boys who are the victims of child sexual abuse. And it mentions that during a 1-year period in the United States, 16% of those between the ages of 14 and 17 have been sexually abused. And throughout an entire lifetime, 28% of U.S. youth between 14 and 17 have been sexually abused. And again, we're talking about somebody who is younger than this. We're talking about somebody who, by all accounts, if this wasn't detected by the wife, this probably would have continued, allegedly continued. But just when you think about that stat, and you think about how often we're talking about these kinds of things, just want to give you your final thoughts on it.
This is why we do those stories. This is why we continue to expose these deeds and to try to catch these people before they actually harm a child. Now, have they harmed a child before they show up in our investigations? Maybe, potentially. And in some cases, I think it's probable. But the more we have parents talking about this, especially in this internet age where kids are exposed to all kinds of things for the first time, at a very young age, it's the dialogue. It's starting to talk to your child at the very moment they become active on the internet to say, look, there are adults who want to trick you. And no matter what happens or how foolish you feel, you can come to me and you're not going to get into trouble. This goes back 20 years, Jesse, to the first time we interviewed a bunch of middle schoolers about the Predatory investigations. We showed them video. They thought it was actors. They didn't think it was real. And I asked them, I said, how many of you have been approached by an adult online and it made you uncomfortable? All of them raised their hand, about 8 of them. I said, how many of you told your parents? 2. I said, why not? We didn't want them to take away the internet. That still applies today. You have to make this, whether it's sextortion or whether it's this kind of a crime, whether it's in the home, whether it's on the internet, you have to create an environment where a child can come forward and say, hey, Mom, hey, Dad, I don't feel so good about this. And you can't, yell at the messenger here. You can't blame them. You got to listen to them and you got to help them. That's our job.
So well said, Chris. I think that's really, really important. Listen, I really, really appreciate you coming on.
Oh, y'all, this is a lot. You know what's crazy? The fact that what they were talking about, the sextortion, all that stuff. We had the police on campus, and we had detectives from the FBI come in. And to my child advocacy class, they was talking about that last semester. We had them do a whole presentation on that. Turns out there were I think 2 or 3 cases on campus with sextortion. I was like, really? That stuff happens? But yeah, they was telling us about that and then how frequent it is. Really creepy. I was just like, oh my God. But yeah, y'all, I don't think anybody, I don't believe anybody would blame the woman for shooting him if she did. But definitely, I think I'm also with them. I think she didn't shoot because she was 100% in shock. I would be in shock and probably purposely just look and kill them. I can't imagine seeing it. That's so sad. Taking away these children is their innocence. What do people not understand? They don't understand what they're doing. It's you're ruining this child. Not only are you raping her, but you have HIV. You're potentially lowering her life for your gain, your pleasure. And these people, disgusting. The women who do this are disgusting. Like I said, there are a lot of cases like that. And like he said, he works with kids. Those teachers who do it, these women who do it, they're teachers, they work with kids. It's just so gross that there are people out here like this and they don't deserve to be within society. They're disgusting, and I don't care what you say. Everybody should feel the same way I'm saying, feeling, okay? They're disgusting. And they should all be in prison. I don't understand this. This was a disgusting case. I cannot believe that. This was shocking. And I think that's also a first for me for seeing something like this, because I've heard a lot of true crimes like this. But Also a first for like a woman, like person seeing and not shooting, because I think I would shoot. But I was like, well, when I heard the topic of the title, I was like, she didn't kill him. But yeah, he's finna get. I hope they get him life in prison. You know, I just. This was a crazy one. So let me know what you guys think. I think I said enough in this video for you guys. I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.